Hello friends, today we are going to be talking about pluots. We talked a bit about these last year when I showed you my 2022 harvest, and this year we're going to talk about my 2023 harvest, these trees, and a little bit just about the history of pluots in general. I love pluots and I find that I'm getting kind of passionate about them, and I just want to share that information with you guys. So first, to start off with my trees, I have two trees here. The one right behind me is the FlavorGrenade, and then if you can see this one, there's another branch or another trunk right there. That is the Dapple dandy. I planted two trees in one hole with the intention of treating them like one tree. There's a lot of information out there I won't be going on about in this video about 2-in-1 planting, 3-in-1 planting. Please check it out. I highly recommend this. It has worked really well for me. While I'm talking, I'm going to put some footage up of me harvesting these pluots over the season, and at the end, hopefully, me trimming them back. I have to admit, I picked my last pluot over 6 weeks ago. It just took me a while to make this video because of illnesses and whatnot. So it's a little late, but it is in 2023, and that is what I mainly want to use this for, is to document my 2023 harvest. So I've got the FlavorGrenade and the Dapple dandy. The star of this year, hands down, is the Dapple dandy, and I'll get into that why in a minute. I just also wanted to share with you guys a little bit of the information about what a pluot is and the history behind it. So for those of you that don't know, a pluot is a plum and an apricot hybrid. They originated technically eons ago. The plum apricot hybrid happened whenever there was a plum and an apricot that cross-pollinated together. You could get some sort of a plum apricot hybrid. The pluot itself is actually more of a specific hybridization process. We're not talking about GMO or gene splicing, anything done in a lab. What we're talking about when we say hybridization for pluots is a cross-pollination process, and that's literally when one flower from one kind of tree and one flower from another kind of tree get pollinated to each other, and that creates unique hybrids. And it's the same as what you grow in your vegetable garden. So if you've got hybrid tomatoes, it doesn't mean that somebody went in there in a lab and gene spliced them. It just means that these tomatoes were cross-pollinated and with things that you're buying in your seed packets. And pluot trees specifically, somebody was painstakingly trying to find the perfect cross to create the fruit that tastes well and handles well and stores well and all of that. So for pluots, they originated in the 1980s by someone named Floyd Zager here in California. Fast forward from the 1980s, there are dozens and dozens of varieties of pluots. So there's FlavorGrenade, Flavor Supreme, there's Flavor King, there's Flavor Queen, there's Flavor Rosa. There's a lot of things with flavors. There's obviously things like the Dapple dandy. There are just a lot of different varieties out there that are just so vastly different. My two trees, my Dapple dandies and my FlavorGrenades, are so different in flavor and texture and look. Like, they just look completely different, that there's kind of, in my opinion, a pluot out there for everyone. There's some that are more sweet, there are some that are more tart, there's some that are more soft, there are some that are more crunchy. Zager has created over, I think, 20 varieties of pluots, and then other people have come in and created their own different varieties of plum apricot hybrids that might not be called pluots. Plumcots, I think, for example, are a 50-50 split, and then there's apriums, which are more apricot than plum, and all of these kind of things. So what Floyd Zager did is spent years cross-pollinating different varieties to try to get a favorable outcome. And I would say he was definitely successful. The pluot is gaining in popularity, I feel like, year after year. And one of the other benefits that pluots have is how long they hang on the tree. My peaches and some other fruits that you guys might be growing in your own yards or that you buy at the grocery store only last on the tree for, maybe a week, sometimes less than a week. So you have, up to 7 days to pick that fruit before it starts getting kind of gross on the tree, and then it may not sit on the counter very long. Pluots, I have found, sit on the tree for a decent amount of time. My kind of average has been about 4 weeks or so, give or take. You can pick them a little earlier, you can pick them a little bit later, and they are more or less ripe, but they're still kind of in that good zone. I had taken footage of me weighing each of the harvests that I had got this year, but I can't even include it because there was like 10 or 11 times that I came out and harvested fruit off of each of these trees. So I will just give you at the end of this video how much I got total off of the trees. And let's talk a little bit about my two varieties specifically. The FlavorGrenade is delicious depending on when you pick it. It's green, it's yellow, it's red. It's never really reached a solid one color, and when you cut open it is like yellow on the inside. So it's really bright, it's really pretty to add to different salads or whatever you want to put it in when you're eating it fresh. I have not tried cooking them yet, but I haven't needed to because people enjoy them fresh so much. I really like the FlavorGrenades because they're crunchy, which is really weird to experience. It's hard to explain because it's not like a plum where you bite into it and it kind of squishes a little bit. It really has a decent crunch to it, which I really like that texture a lot. The Dapple Dandies, however, win hands down in my opinion for flavor, which is ironic because they're called FlavorGrenades. I mean, they have a really good flavor, but I like the flavor of the Dapple Dandy a little bit more. At least this year I did, and I have found that people that I give them to like the flavor of the Dapple Dandy the most as well. The Dapple Dandies are more mottled on the outside, and when you cut into them, they're like this beautiful like red or burgundy depending on when you cut into them, and they're really delicious. And again, they're really pretty if you want to put them on things, and I imagine they would bake really well, and I will hopefully try that next year, but I haven't tried baking them into anything just yet, but people really enjoy getting those from me. They're definitely a favorite. And the other reason is they were a massive producer this year. I don't know if I just got a bumper crop because of the weird weather we had over the winter, but they did really well. I was kind of amazed when I actually sat down and calculated all of the numbers. I got the most by weight from Pluots this year than any other fruit. I thought that my peaches were the winner, but they weren't. Now, that being said, the peaches are like 2-3 times the size, which is nice. The Pluots are smaller, but I still got more per weight out of them. So to get into it, the final numbers this year for 2023, I will put the numbers up right here so that you can see them up on the screen. But this year, the Dapple Dandy comes out sooner than the FlavorGrenade, so I'll start with that. The Dapple Dandy, we got 41 pounds. 41 pounds of Dapple Dandies. You guys, I think I got like 8 pounds last year, so it's just a massive difference. I think like the fact that the trees are aging more is helping, but I also think it might have been the weather, so I don't know if I'm going to get that much next year. I got sick over the summer, so I was going to try to process them, especially the Dapple Dandy, and making like sort of like a plum sauce, but with a Pluot sauce, and I didn't get to do that. But if I get 41 pounds next year, I will hands down figure out something like that to do. And then the FlavorGrenade, I got 30 pounds. 30 pounds of FlavorGrenade. That's still fantastic. It's still more than I got last year. They're just loaded. I have to say, I thinned these trees a ton, like a ton. I probably could have gotten more than what I just gave you, the 41 and the 30, but I did thin these trees pretty heavily because I was concerned. This is a younger tree. I was concerned that the branches, I don't know if you can see this here, but the branches, they're still pretty narrow, and I didn't want anything to break. And so I did make sure to come in and thin off many hundreds of Pluots. Last year, I think I thinned off 400. This year is probably something similar. So when all was said and done, I got a total of 71 pounds of Pluots this year, which is amazing and a ton of fruit. And so I ate a ton of it. My daughter ate a ton of it. I gave it away to friends. I gave it away to family. I actually sent it to my daughter's school. We had plenty to share. And so massive producers, and these trees, you can't see all the way up, but hopefully you can see it in the footage of me pruning the trees down, that they are not actually that big when you consider like the size of a backyard tree, and they're producing so much. They're definitely smaller than my peach trees, and my peach trees, like I said, they produced a ton this year. I think it was something like 60 pounds, so it's not much difference, but like the size of the tree is much smaller and still producing so heavily. So if you guys are interested in growing Pluots, I hope that was helpful information. If you want to know more that I didn't share, feel free to ask. If I know the answer, I will be happy to share it with you. And if you know something about pluots or other interspecifics, which I think is like the term for those cross-pollinating varieties, let me know. I know they have some really cool ones that have come out. The Plueri, I think, is a plum and cherry hybrid. I can't wait to try that. I have not made it to a farmer's market at the right time to see if I can get my hands on one of those, but it sounds delicious. There's just so much to learn and so many new things coming out that to me, it's just really exciting to kind of grow in my knowledge of that. So I would love to hear from you guys. If you have something similar to Pluot you'd love to share with me or learn more about, just let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. If you'd like to subscribe, please just hit the button, and I always appreciate a thumbs up. And if you guys want to come along for hang around my channel, I do monthly tours of just kind of what's growing, what things look like in a Southern California garden each month. And then every year I'm trying really hard to document what I'm getting off of all of my fruit trees, just to kind of help myself and share it with you guys. So I hope you'll join me for that. Thank you so much again for joining me for this video today, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.